So, hello and welcome everyone. This is the Fashion Mic. I am Kavan Marwa, and together we are turning our voice into style. So, welcome to the show, ma'am. She is Miss Rinku Shroff. She owns her own designer label. She has also worked with Tata Sky and has done 30 plus solo shows as well. Welcome
Thank
to
you,
the show,
Kavan.
ma'am.
Thank you.
So, ma'am, would you like to share your journey with us in the fashion industry?
Fashion industry. Fashion is like inborn. I feel I'm born with style. This is what I feel, and everything starts from within. So from childhood to when I have grown a little young, and now I mean almost a middle-aged woman. I feel I live fashion. I see fashion in each and everything. I see fashion as something which is like imbibed as a style, and style is you cannot buy it, you have to born with it, and then you have to inculcate every day so many things to take it forward where you can inspire people and take it to the next level. And fashion to me is like what is in vogue is in fashion, which is not restricted only to apparels. It could be anything, in your surroundings, in your lifestyle, in your environment, political scenario, or your food, the way you live your life, the way you eat, sleep, and drink. So everything with a style becomes fashion. So this is what a broad spectrum of fashion is, what I think.
So, have you always been interested in fashion, or did life lead you this way?
I was little interested into fashion, but as life unfolded, I thought maybe I'm meant for this. So that's how the passage was shown to me, and I walked the path.
So, ma'am, can you describe the signature style of Rinku Shroff?
Kavan, I'm more into fusion wear.
Okay.
So the amalgamation of the Indian heritage, the Indian handloom with a little cuts and drapes. So that's like my forte. But at our store, we do everything. We are everything as in we are into traditional garments as well, and we are into westerns. But the USP, unique selling proposition of our store is an amalgamation of or a fusion wear, because not absolutely traditional, not absolutely Western. So nowadays, fusion is very much in fashion, in vogue. So a lot of people, they want to hold to their roots as well, and they want to fly. So that's like how we describe fashion, and specifically, predominantly for the Indian women, for the youngsters, or of any age as well, that stay grounded and fly solo as much as you want. So for that, it's a mixture of both the things, a balance. So that's what we are doing with our garments. Yeah.
So, ma'am, any comments about sustainability?
Sustainability is going to go a long way. Sustainability is very important.
Mm.
What is sustainability is jo lamba chale, and
Mm.
everybody wants to survive. Buying anything is very easy, but survival, they say, of the fittest is the most important thing. So sustainability is, I think, surviving. And nowadays in fashion industry, if you talk about, sustainability is growing. Not much people into it, but those again who know the value, a particular thing, that yes, how sustainability is contributing to fashion, to life, and to different spectrums or the verticals of life. So they feel sustainability is very important. And in fashion, yes, we are promoting sustainability, definitely, and that's like one of our core. So renewals is one of our segment where we promote sustainability, where we tell our clients to get their mother's heritage saris or their heirlooms and all, and we convert them into the dresses of which is going on in vogue, and we transform. So that way we are creating more sustainable garments which are lying in their wardrobe and converting them so that they can wear them now. So that's like our contribution to sustainability, and more or less we are using natural and organic fabrics, not much into synthetics. So in a way, yes, that's how we are, that's our 2 cents to promote sustainability.
So, ma'am, now, any comments about fast fashion brands like Zara, H&M? So,
See, Zara, H&M, they are too big as brands to comment, but yes, they are into fast fashion. So, comparison to other brands also. So, what happens is a lot of dump is there. A fashion dump, as you said, talk of the photo dumps. So, the the garments or the styles which are not rotating. There are like the dump houses, the warehouses where piles and piles of garments and designs are lying, and then you just sell them at throwaway prices. So I personally feel, because I'm more driven to sustainability, that if we go in for the fabric which is good, which is natural, which doesn't have a synthetic fiber, then you're going to go a long way. And then why changing style every day? Anything which holds a real good value. Just thinking from a lifestyle point of view, if you have an expensive bag, if you have an expensive watch, or if you have like your gold jewelry, anything which has a value, don't you think that's being coming from ages, and that becomes vintage, and that becomes, it goes higher in value? So why can't we do it with our clothes? Why do we need 100 clothes? Being a designer, you'll say, ma'am, a designer wants to sell their clothes every now and then. Yes, we want to sell our clothes, but we want that sustainability factor to be maintained. We say, come pehno, acha pehno. Have 10 fabrics, have 10 garments, but why not repeat them? So anything which is good, which holds a value, it becomes vintage, and that becomes an investment rather than an expense. So whatever you buy, whether it is your clothes, whether it is your jewelry, whether it is your bag, so anything, keep sustainability in mind and just think 10 years down the line, does it will stay the same or will hold some value? So that's like our buying factor. We find fashion is not an expense, it's an investment.
Exactly. So, ma'am, any comments on the traditional handicrafts? Like, there has been a lot of controversy going on with Prada, with Dior, that they have stolen our credits. Like, they've used many traditional Indian handicrafts and have not credited India for the same. So, any comments about that?
I will say it's like एक हिंदी में कहावत है, गोद में छोरा शहर में ढिंडोरा. So maybe you will not understand, which is like, you have so many things in your platter, but you don't recognize the intricacy or the beauty, how beautiful they are and their value. So what happens is, like, in latest, if you see, Prada has gone for our Kolhapuri chappals, and in Kolhapur, if you go to Maharashtra and otherwise, we are selling those chappals for maybe 100 rupees, 115 INR, and there they are selling it for lakhs. And the Kolhapuri chappals, they have become already a passe. Seldom people used to wear. What we do when we go on vacations and holidays, we go to a Gucci store or we go to a Ferragamo store and we buy their shoes or a Jimmy Choo worth rupees 1 lakhs or 2 lakhs or maybe 70,000, 50,000. But they are coming to India, they're buying a chappal whose worth is like 100 rupees and they're selling it for 1 lakh rupees, or that's the latest on their ramp. So just see the eye, so beauty lies in the eyes of beholder. So they understand that the Indian culture, the Indian handicraft, and the Indian heritage is so rich everywhere down the line. So they are encashing on it. Same with the Christy Dior as well. The Indian brocades they are using, the Indian embroideries they are using. So here, the karigars, the people who work for us, they are really suffering a lot because they are underpaid, and हाथ का काम का किसी को value ही उतना नहीं है, because a lot of thing is like, because AI is replacing everything. So ARA is not there. The real work is not there. Real intelligence is taken over by artificial intelligence, and so as all the machine embroideries, the computerized embroideries, they are doing more rounds rather than the actual work. So the West has realized that this is like fading, so why not encash it? And so it's like, I'll say it's a shout out to everyone that please stick to your roots, value your handicrafts, value your embroideries, and go for sustainability. Yes.
Exactly, ma'am. It's the same with Pashmina also. Outside they sell it as cashmere, but it's pashmina. And the embroidery that pashmina has, I don't think so anyone in the world can ever do it.
You know, Kavan, there have always been two segments. One is for the masses and one is for the classes,
Yes.
which is always, you can say, a sad part also, but a practical part as well. Not everybody can afford everything, you know.
Hmm.
For me, even I have my certain boundaries and you have your certain boundaries. So within that parameter, what you can buy is the thing. But then a choice is always given, you know, even if you can afford something which is for 100 rupees, or if I can afford something which is for 50 rupees, or if somebody can afford something which is for 1 lakh rupees, but then the choice matters, you know.
Exactly.
For 5 rupees you can buy a carrot and drink a carrot juice, or for 50 rupees you can buy a diet coke can. So the choice here matters. So at every range everything is available, but at the end it is the choice that matters. So a conscious effort or a conscious choice where you want our Indian heritage to grow, where you want the artisans to grow, where you want our cultural things and our legacy where it's shown to the world, then we need to make a conscious choice. Yes.
So, ma'am, can you tell us about the challenges you faced while building a brand?
Challenges, I think, is there any work which is devoid of challenge? So, and a challenge is like constant, as they say, change is constant, so is challenge. So every now and then we face a lot of challenges. The challenge comes like if a client comes, so how to break the ice first, you know, how to be precise, convince a client. Convince as in we do convince a client
Hmm.
that what you're buying from us is not a damage, is not something which is like people say, okay, what are the damages? So we say it's not a damage, it's an investment, it's a legacy. So that the shift in the mindset where you are investing in a garment and you're not, people when they say, oh, we just wear it once, you know, we just wear it once and we just don't want to repeat. So then it is a challenge and we say, why you don't want to repeat? Your clothes are your second skin, and
Exactly.
anything which is your second skin should be preserved, should be taken care of. And if you'll wear the garments and if you'll buy the garments taking that conscious choice in mind, believe me, Kavan, your body language changes. Whatever you wear, if you wear it 10 times and people say, oh, she's repeating her garment 10 times, but you'll make the head turn because you're wearing something which is sustainable, which is pure, which is good, and which is selective, and everybody knows the value which you carry, and on the top of it you are the brand, and anything which is good is an icing to the cake. So why not enhance it and be the cherry on the top?
Exactly, ma'am. So, ma'am, anything you would like to suggest? Like, how do we preserve our traditional handicrafts, like pashmina, bandhani, banarsi? How do we preserve them?
That's a very good question, because preserving them is very, very
Important.
important. That's how you can, you know, down the line, this is what you can pass it to your future generations. So there are certain methods. For example, the pashmina, it should be kept with some neem ki pattis and should be wrapped in green muslin or maybe a white muslin, so as with the silks and bandhani. So, and every year, you know, as the season changes, you take them out, you, because the moisture is being
Hmm.
absorbed, so they should be kept under sunlight. They're the basic everyday things which our dadi and nani and our mums used to do. So we have seen them. So बाहर से किसी को उनको प्रिजर्व कराना, पॉलिश कराना भी आजकल होता है, बट अगर आप अपना कपड़ा का देख रेख किस तरह से करें, सो डेफिनेटली वो बहुत अच्छा चलेगा. सो एवरी इंडिविजुअल इज who wants to preserve their garments and who have these good garments, so you know the basic methods are available on YouTube also.
Hmm.
Nowadays everything is available, but थोड़ा सा मेहनत करना पड़ेगा and you start preserving them. And one thing what I will say is, bringing this kind of a stuff to into future generation, telling them, for example, I tell my child or to the people in my family and via my podcast or via my shows also, that a child should know what is the value of these things, and
Hmm.
if they are aware oh, this bandhani is so important, how it is made, how you tie up all rai ka dana or some grain and then you dye it, so how intricate work it is, then definitely they will stop wearing the brands which is fast fashion. And nowadays a lot of youngsters are also shifting towards sustainable fashion. Maybe it's handful, but if you'll see the kids who are aware, the future generation who's aware that who don't want to contribute much to global warming, and those who are well read, I say, and those who want to see the change, they are being the change. So they are diversifying themselves to that change and taking the leap of faith. I've seen that, kids. Yeah.
So, ma'am, what do you enjoy the most about styling your clients on your own?
What do I enjoy the most? Hmm. I think when the garment is little tough, I enjoy doing things which are more challenging. The things which are comparatively simpler, I mean, I do them, but anything which is more challenging and little tough, so that gives me an adrenal rush on how to go about it. I take it as a challenge and take it forward. So whenever the client is little tough on us, compare in comparison to when they are not much aware of the sustainability, so shifting their mindset from fast fashion to something which is like an investment, which is a sustainable garment, is the challenging factor. So we have to explain the client and tell them the pros and cons. So we are not very hard on selling our stuff, Kavan, that we need to crack the deal and we need to sell the stuff. Here we are doing a more of an awareness campaign, which is contributing to the society, which is contributing to the planet. And believe me, this is a tough part, but it's gonna go a long way. And the future generation is gonna thank us. Those who will see that how much hard work we are doing promoting sustainable fashion and creating the legacy and carrying it forward into via renewals and all. So everything is interlinked. So we cross our fingers that we should go a long way and people should realize and convert from fast fashion into sustainable fashion.
So, ma'am, any comments about how people are actually pursuing trends again and again and ignoring their own signature style?
That's a very important question, Kavan, and I personally feel that's again, a very tough call because honestly, a lot of people are going for the trends, not the signature styles, not the sustainability, not the heritage, the things which we are, the lineage which we are bringing in fashion or in our handicrafts. So for people like us, it is tough because, as you say, masses are more and classes are handful. So, if 90% people are following trends, and if 10% people they want to carry forward the legacy or the ethereal garments, as we say, sustainable as a ethereal fashion also, which is coming from donkey's years and which is like not gonna fade. If you'll see our silks, if you'll see our kanjivarams, if you see bandhani, touche, pashmina, cashmere, whichever form it is, the synonyms if we give to them. So these kind of garments, they may not be picked up like this. They may not be picked up like this, but they're gonna go a long way. 50 years down the line, suppose if I pick up anything from my mother's wardrobe and if I see this, believe me, it is so beautiful still. The borders, the embroideries, if I show it to my karigar, this is like I'm showing, from the horse's mouth. I'm saying, I'm talking all these things so that you should realize it. So even my karigars, they say, ma'am, it is very tough to bring in that kind of finesse in the garment. So आज से 50 साल पहले जो काम होता था, जो कपड़ा होता था, that kind of stuff is not available nowadays because there is a mixing. हर चीज में mixing हो गया ना. If you will talk of the AQI, एयर क्वालिटी इंडेक्स, हर चीज में पोल्यूशन है, तो कपड़े में भी उसको आप पोल्यूशन मान लो, या हर चीज में मिलावट है. हमारे खाने में मिलावट है, हवा में मिलावट है, कपड़े में मिलावट है, हमारे लाइफस्टाइल में मिलावट है, हमारे रिश्तों में मिलावट है, हर चीज में मिलावट है. सो वो जो प्योरिटी और इंट्रिकेसी और फिनिश है ना, दैट हैज बिकम अ वेरी टफ थिंग. सो अब ट्रेंड भी यही है. 80% जनता जो है, the masses, they are following the trends. So that trend is a fast fashion, you know, the thing which is not, anything which is expensive, anything which is real, believe me, has some value. If you say this is expensive, it must be having some value. You're not paying the price just like that, you know. So believe me, you pay the price because you know the value. And sometimes when you don't want to pay the price, it doesn't mean that the thing is not containing any value. Maybe you are unable to see that value, but that's, we respect your choice as well. So that's how, you know, everything goes in a loop. So we are just all running in a loop. That's how it is.
So, ma'am, nowadays there are many technical textiles like which protects you from sunlight. There are textiles which actually promote sustainability in a better way. Like they use flax fabric, they use linen, proper linen without any uh, synthetic in it. So, any comments about that and how technical textiles can actually grow?
I think they're doing a good work because plus those who are using the technical textiles, believe me, those, for example, you're saying flax seeds, or if I'll say there are certain brands which are deriving leather out of pineapple or cactus, or they are creating the fabrics out of bamboo. So these are like the technical things which are being inculcated in the ethereal, in the natural things, and then a beautiful fabric is getting made. So that kind of a stuff is gonna go a long way. So again, this is what a fusion, a
Exactly.
fusion of the technology that has come up with the things which are naturally available. So if you do a fusion and bring back that balance becomes very important, and anything that is created out of that balance is going to go a long way and it's going to be a sustainable thing. So they're going doing a good job. If we are like, a lot of people, they say, oh, this is pure leather, you know, this is cow's leather, or this is crocodile's leather, this is snake leather. So of course those who want to buy, they buy it. But then, as at one point of time we say, mutilation or the killing of the species, endangered species, or anybody is not a part of our culture. So then these kind of derivations from the natural products is going to go a long way, and we all should shift to it, preserving the uh, preserving the, what do I say, the things which are being getting extinct. For example, the snakes, or the other kind of animals, which maybe, you know, if we take the wool out of the sheep also, so that's one segment. We don't mutilate a sheep, you know, we don't kill a sheep. Eating sheep is different, those who are non-vegetarians, but then that's one part, that's, you are taking out the wool from the sheep, that's one part of fashion. But killing a crocodile to have that crocodile leather, you know, that's a different thing altogether. So we should understand that where we are going and what are the boundaries. So that distinction is very important, so that we can stop the things from getting extinct. Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your personal life?
Personal life, as in, you ask and I'll tell you.
Like, how did you start your career? Like, what degree did you pursue in your college? And how did you go about with your career? What changes did you face uh, during the during your college life? It's like that.
Okay, so Kavan, as you talk about one by one college, so my degree is in, I have done my literature honors in English from Kirorimal College.
Okay.
That too, I think maybe 30 years ago. But at that time, I had no formal knowledge of fashion. But then I took my NIFT entrance exam and my Pearls entrance, and then I cleared my, you know, as things they have, I cleared my NIFT as well. But the day I had my GD, I received my letter late. So that becomes a surpass thing. Then I joined Pearl Academy. Then I did Pearl Academy for 3 months only. and self drop out. And then I thought, no, maybe, that kind of air when you are 21 or 22, I can't be tamed like this, or maybe that was not fascinating me much. So I'm a self taught designer. So from a literature honors in English to NIIT at that time, it was National Institute of Information and Technology. So I was one of the scholars and then did my software engineering for a few years. Not a full course, but a diploma course, and then a little from the. So it's a mixed bag of everything. So that's how I pursued, and then getting into fashion altogether was inbred, was inbuilt, and this is what I feel I'm born with, and that's like I've pursued my passion. So here I am pursuing my passion.
So, we come to the end of today's episode of the Fashion Mic. Thanks a lot, Rinku ma'am, for being a guest today. We are so delighted to have you here. And thanks a lot for sharing your journey and giving us your precious time. Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Thank you, Kavan, and I'm equally delighted because I'm not new to Marva Studios, and this is every year we have been doing it. And seeing the new studio is really, really very beautiful, and I wish we keep continuing our work. And thank you for giving us a chance once again.
Come on. So, until next time, stay confident, stay kind, and most of all, stay you. We'll come with another episode of the Fashion Mic soon. Thank you.